What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Rich, back to bring you some NBA props for Tuesday, November 22nd. Just me for right now, but Ray will be dropping his plays later. So a little recap of my plays from yesterday. 1-1, Heaven Mobley, man. Gotta just blame Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell for this one. They chose to shoot the lights out and they won the game, so I can't really be too mad, but not a lot of offensive opportunities for Mobley, mostly offensive rebounds and small little tip-ins from that. So unfortunately, he did not go over his points and rebounds, but we did get the over on Brook Lopez on his points plus assists. He did get 2 assists, like I talked about. He was priced at around 1 assist. He got 2, and so that was enough for us to go over. That's why I kind of like the points and assists over just the points. Both numbers were fine, but yeah, the points and assists were definitely the way I wanted to go. So 1 for 1, looking to get some more out of it today. I have a few plays we're going to talk about. Some are process plays, some are anti-process plays. Lots of things to go over, but let's dive into it right now. For all the high-flying action, take a step back and relax. It's time to count that money. The NBA props, no look any further. You know what time it is. Presented by PrizePicks, NBA props. Let's count that money, man. All right, so let's dive into the model. Oh, well, let's just start with this right here. Since I'm already have this thing open from our Discord, I threw a few things in here, and let's talk first about De'Aaron Fox. So De'Aaron Fox is a player I was looking at today. His assists are 6.5. They're minus 135 on the books. They're playing against Memphis today. John Morant probably not going to play in this one. Desmond Bane won't play in this one. So we're looking at another game with Dylan Brooks and Conchar and Tyus Jones, and we'll see how that backcourt ultimately shakes out. But De'Aaron Fox's assists are 6.5, so on the books, like I mentioned, minus 135. He's hitting 5 straight games. He's averaging 8.8 assists per game over that stretch. So he's playing very, very well. The issue is that even though they're 6.5, even though they seem a little bit low, I'm not all the way sold on it. And there's a few red flags as to why. He's only hit this in 4 of 14 career games versus Memphis. Of course, John Morant's played in probably most of those games, and Memphis allows the third fewest assists per games to opposing point guards. The issue, though, like I mentioned, is John Bane will not be playing, so that's a massive hole for the perimeter defense. And on top of that, Josh Giddey and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander both put up quite a few assists against them. Giddey dropped 11 and Shai dropped 6. So it's an interesting spot at 6.5 for a player who has been playing well and dropping a lot of assists. There is a lot of juice to the over on the book, so they are projecting him to go over. And on PrizePicks, it is still sitting at 6.5. It's not one that I'm all in on, but I wanted people to be aware of the data behind it. There's a few points to say that he should go over. There's a few to say maybe he won't. And it's kind of somewhere in the middle. I'd say it's more of a flex viable play. But one that I do think is very viable is Bojan Bogdanovic over his points and assists at 22.5. This play does look really good. As you can see, he's averaging 26.4 over his last 5 games. And actually, I did want to pull up his assists because he's been phenomenal actually dishing the rock. So you see they're at 2.5 right now. He's hitting 4 of his last 5. You see he's got 5, 3, 5, 4. He's been going over a lot, and he's not just going over by a little bit. He's going way over. And then you want to go over and look at his points at 19.5. He can score just about that by himself. So that's the reason why I do like the points and assists only at 22.5. He can get there with the points. He's been scoring a lot. We don't expect Cade to be back in this one. We know that Ivy will do a lot of work as well in the backcourt, but I think that Bojan has been consistent enough to where you can trust him to get the points and assists, and we have seen a lot of upside from him in the assist department. So for me, I will definitely be taking the over on Bojan Bogdanovic points and assists at 22.5. Like I said, we haven't projected for right around 26.5 or so. The added assists that he's been getting over the past few days has been helping this number more and more, and knowing that the points are still at 19.5, I always love that because anything under 20 for him, I think he's good money for, and you've seen that over his last few games. He's been very consistent scoring the ball. And then the anti-process play that I will touch on very briefly is DeAndre Ayton's points and rebounds. And they're at 25.5. They're juiced to the under. He's only averaging 23.8 over his last 5 games. But man, it is so difficult to ignore this matchup versus the Los Angeles Lakers today. Here is the game log for DeAndre Ayton for his entire career. He's averaged 17 points and 10.9 rebounds versus the Lakers for his entire career. You can see how many times he's put up double-digit rebounds on them. It is a lot. It is 8 of his 11 games he's put up 10 or more rebounds versus the Lakers. The Lakers are dead last in rebounding to the center. So if you like his 9.5 rebounds, that's a pretty good number. You can get it plus money on some books and on PrizePicks. It is at 9.5. I would have preferred it at 9, but you can see the trend. He just likes to go over against the Lakers, plays very well against them. And in the scoring department, he's got 19, 23, 22, and in only 27 minutes. And so in this one, I'm not sure what to expect minutes-wise, but I think it's encouraging knowing that he's still going over this number while playing what many would consider to be limited minutes. He's going to shoot efficiently. The Lakers are god-awful versus centers. They're allowing, I think they're top 3 in points. They're third worst in points for rebounds allowed. It's just a lot of reasons why you would like to play a player against the Lakers. And like I mentioned, the rebounding, they're by far the worst. They allow 18.9 rebounds per game. So a lot of reasons to take the over for DeAndre Ayton. Like I mentioned, bit of an anti-process play because the trend for his over isn't quite there, but he has been relatively decent lately. So that's the biggest problem, is that while the data isn't all the way there because he hasn't been scoring too well, you see he's right around that 15-point mark. He's got a couple 17s, he's got a couple 16s, but he's right in the middle there in terms of scoring the ball. And then you want to look at the rebounding, which they just posted. Rebounds are similar, right? He's got 11, 10, 7, 12, 5. So he's had a couple bad rebounding games, and that's why it's not all the way there. But against the Lakers, you see this trend. He has had a lot of great games against the Lakers, and with how bad the Lakers are playing right now, I see no reason to fade him. I'm taking it. I'm going against the data here. It's definitely on the books, a better line to take, but even on PrizePicks, I do think it is viable. I know you guys will say I'm crazy. I understand. I get it, but I think it does look pretty good. And the last one I wanted to talk about is Torrey Craig. You saw me pull him up when I pulled up the PrizePicks board, and Craig is someone who is interesting. He's been playing a lot more minutes in the absence of Chris Paul, and so I think he's in a good spot. You see he's hit in 4 straight games, again, up against the Lakers, who surprisingly are okay in terms of their small forward defense, but they're also going to be playing, he's been playing a lot more on the second unit, playing against backups. He will get some starter minutes, but a lot of those minutes will be filled by Mikal Bridges, so I do think that Craig is in a good spot. He's been scoring the ball very, very well, and so if you did want to take it, I don't mind it. It's minus 130 on the books right now, so it's in a pretty good spot, especially from a book value standpoint, averaging 12.4, standard dev of 2.9, so he has been hitting this mark quite often, and as you saw in the game log, it looks pretty good. So as far as I'm concerned for the core plays for me are Bojan Bogdanovic and DeAndre Ayton. One process play, one anti-process play, betting on the matchup, betting on those Lakers, like I always love to do. Love when players play against the Lakers. It always provides some good value for me. And on top of that, I think you could potentially flex De'Aaron Fox and Torrey Craig. I did want to show you guys those numbers because they are juiced up to the over on the books. Even if I'm not all the way sold, I think Craig's a pretty good play, and Fox, like I mentioned, playing against a depleted backcourt can probably get it done fairly easily. Should be an up and down matchup. We saw that the Nets played very well against the Memphis Grizzlies, but they did still kind of hang in that one a little bit. So I do like both those plays. And as always, if you tail, give PrizePicks hail, and if we fail, do not bail. Let me know what else you guys want to talk about in the comments, or maybe some more stuff released. We are waiting for Denver to kind of put out their final lineup because they did rest their starters. So again, potential for Bojan Bogdanovic to go over. I was also looking at Jaden Ivey over his points, rebounds, and assists at 27.5. That number looked pretty good. He's been performing pretty well. He's been averaging right around 30 over the last few days. So a few things to look out for. Watch out for Denver because we will probably get some stuff from them, whether their starters play or not. They rested last game, so that's why we don't have any lines for them. But if there is anything you want to talk about in that game, that's pretty interesting. But at the end of the day, attack those Lakers, man. Their team is awful. Their defense is terrible. And I think that Bojan's in a great spot today up against Denver, whether he plays the starters or the backups. I still think he's probably going to go over in this one. So thank you guys so much for watching. Ray will probably drop a video a little bit later, but if not, it's all good. I got you covered. I'll see you guys later, and I'm out. Peace.